Before I kind of go into my intro for this video, I wanted to take a moment to set up the scene for the album that we're talking about in this week's episode of Misunderstood Albums. We are in the middle of the 2010s. Long gone is the era, especially of the early indies music from the early 2000s. Also at this point of time, kind of is long gone I guess you could call it Southern garage rock phase that was starting to come out from the late 2000s. Kind of think like the Black Keys or the Kings of Leon. That era of music now has even started to fade into the background. The rise of incorporating beats and drops into pop music has started to take hold in the mainstream. Electronic music has started to take hold into the mainstream. Artists such as Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, and Taylor Swift, and no disses to them at all, but they are just dominating the playing field. You know, they are just absolutely crushing it. And of course, hip hop and eventually mumble rap is starting to dominate the airwaves. Now, once again, is there anything wrong with the era of music that I discussed? Absolutely not. I've never even been one of those people to hate on a certain style of music. If anything, I've always been a guy that's curious when people appreciate music, and I want to understand why they like that music so much. But that was the scene that was unfolding in the mid-2010s. In fact, I believe it's 2015 is the year specifically that we're focusing on. All of a sudden, out comes an album where the lead singer and singer-songwriter of this group, well, is one man really, Leon Bridges. The look of Leon is completely different than any pop artist, especially out there, but I would even venture to say indie artist. He's very different. He dresses in retro style clothes. The way that he carries himself, his demeanor, his hairstyle, everything screams like it comes from an era long gone, 50, 60 years ago. And that's just his look. The album itself is another time capsule. Gone are the electronic music. Even the hard rock band that I described earlier is not there. Rather, it's a retro sounding album, almost stereo sounding. The band, the music behind it is stripped back. It almost sounds like it gets recorded in your basement, in a garage, but not in a bad way, in a way of a time period that was long ago. And what kind of differentiates it, because before I kind of go into the album itself, because the idea of retro albums themselves is not new. It's not even like Leon is the first artist to incorporate this. You know, I think especially like in the YouTube scene, how many bands are there that do retro styles of like pop music, of maybe eras of music from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and they put like a 50s, 60s spin on it. You know, that's been long running. The difference in it is the sound that Leon produces matches and blends well with the lyrics and the message that he is putting out. They're deep, they're personal, and they just completely work with everything that he's putting forward into the Coming Home album. With that being said, man, I mean, this was a long intro, but we had to go for it. This is going to be an in-depth look, not so much like a track-by-track analysis of Leon's album. More so, it's going to be a general overview of the story behind the album and its impact on the music scene. With all that being said, I welcome you all to the Mainstream Indie Music channel. We talk about all things indie music from any time period, and we appreciate that you're here. You know, this channel means a lot to me, As I've stated many times over these videos, one of my biggest passions is talking about movies and music. And maybe I need to start incorporating some movie soundtracks and so on and so forth on this channel. But, many times I do the research and then I kind of just speak from the heart. I speak from what I remember, what I recall. And a lot of times what I really appreciate from you guys is it resonates with you guys. I get messages, I get comments on new videos and old, videos from a long time ago of people that talk about, concerts that they went to, and they talk about the albums that they enjoy, bands that they enjoy, and I really appreciate that. So please continue to support the channel by doing that. Comment to me, tell me what you're feeling, tell me what you're thinking about music, and let's just roll on with this video. Now, taking a deep dive into the look and the sound of Leon Bridges, I don't want to mix things up. There's kind of two things I want to clarify when talking about the Coming Home album. Now, are there artists, specifically black artists, that talk about R&B subjects, that talk about lost love, that talk about, deeper topics and kind of go into these deep places? Absolutely. Even during this time period. I think of like early The Weeknd. I think of Frank Ocean. They were there. And that's the difference is leading into the second point with Leon Bridges is this. Before, I mentioned how are there artists that have gone retro, that have kind of gone into the 50s, 60s sound and either tried to make original music or tried to make current music sound like retro sounding? Absolutely. The difference is Leon Bridges' album, especially Coming Home, is not trying to copy that retro sound. It literally is that retro sound. Almost if you played it in a lineup of artists from that time period, I don't even think you could tell the difference. The personal touch of songs like River, Brown Skin Girl, and Lisa Sawyer, it just absolutely works. I know River is pretty much the biggest single off this album, but again, just such a deep personal touch. Time and time again, it just seems like a timeless album that you can revisit. And that's what I want to throw out to you guys as we wrap out this video. Have you listened to this album before? Do you know of Leon Bridges? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you all next week. Peace.